Hi Krishna, thank you for giving some time to study Srimad Bhagavad Gita with us. I welcome you on behalf of Sri Rup Manjari Institute. We begin our session today by meditating on Sri Yamuna Devi. Yes. It is important that we take deep breaths during the day. It relaxes our mind and rejuvenates our body. So I encourage you to take deep breaths while meditating on this beautiful Yamuna ji from Sri Vrindavan Dham. So Yamuna ji has been there since the time Sri Krishna appeared in Vrindavan, and she had embraced Krishna with her holy waters. So for spiritual enthusiasts, Sri Yamuna ji offers deep wealth of devotion. Not only is she manifest in the form of a river, but also she's a Patarani of Krishna. So just by meditating on the holy waters of Sri Yamuna, her holy name, our consciousness can become purified. So in this way, meditating on these beautiful scenes from Sri Yamuna, let's take deep breaths 5 times. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. Let's now meditate on Mangalacharan mantras. We begin by offering pranams to Sri Guru. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance, with the torchlight of knowledge. So we offer very humbly our respects to the acharyas. Next, we offer our pranams to Sri Rupa Goswami, about whom we heard in one of our previous sessions. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ye Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Today we learn one more Mangalacharan mantra, the Sri Vaishnava Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They are just like desire trees who can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. So in today's session, we will discuss who a Vaishnava is, or who a devotee is, and it's also related to our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, because today we are going to discuss verses from the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which indicate that Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala, protector of the devotees. But then who are bhaktas or devotees? Let's understand that. So this discussion is based on a conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Rupa Goswami. So Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he quotes from Padma Puran, talking about how there are different types of bodies all across the universe. There are about 8.4 million species, different types of bodies. Uh, and all of these bodies actually represent the different desires that uh, jivas or spirit souls have. And in each of these bodies, spirit souls can fulfill their desire. For example, if someone has an intense desire to hunt, that passion to hunt and kill and taste the blood of another living entity, then by the arrangement of the nature, such a soul will get the body of a tiger. Similarly, if someone has the deep desire to sleep as much as as much as he can, then nature will award him or her the body, like maybe a sloth bear or a bear, right? So each of these different bodies um, are a means through which jivas can fulfill their desires. Spirit souls can fulfill their desires. Of course, these bodies are also assigned based on the qualification or based on the karma or his actions. So there are about 8.4 million species. Among them, 8 million belong to animals and plants. Like there is a breakup also given in Padma Puran where figures such as 900,000 aquatics, aquatics or uh, uh, living beings living in waters are available. Such bodies are there in the water kingdom. Similarly, 1.1 million insects. And similarly, there is further breakup given of how many number of uh, bodies or species are there in the plant kingdom, and how many four-legged animals are there. That breakup is available in the scripture. So, but in these bodies, a jiva has no capacity to ask deeper question. That capacity to ask deeper question comes when a jiva acquires body of a human. So it is explained in the scriptures that there are about 400,000 species or different types of humans. Okay. Now, when a person gets the human form of life, that's when the jiva can ask deeper questions such as, what is the purpose of this universe? Why does this world exist? What is the purpose that I exist? Such questions can be asked only in human form of life. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that even those living entities who, by some great good fortune, acquire this human form of life, majority of them will have absolutely no faith. They would they would just keep themselves no faith in what? No faith in scriptures or in existence of God. They were just like animals, just like all other species, keep themselves busy in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The majority of those jivas who get human form of life. But then, out of these, some jivas in human body would have a little bit more advanced consciousness, and they would have a little bit faith in the scripture that they come across, or in the existence of a higher being or god. But what but uh, but they would just do lip service to their scriptures. They will not very firmly follow the regulations given in their scriptures. They may not even lead moral lives. They will just have some faith. This is a little bit more advanced consciousness than people having no faith, but it's not very highly developed. So, in this pyramid of evolution of consciousness, the next stage would be of those who have faith in scriptures, who have faith in existence of God, but they follow whatever they do, whatever they do, or they follow those regulations of scriptures which help them fulfill their needs and wants in this material world. Like they will do some puja or they will do some prayer just so that they can like as they say sukh sampatti ghar aave kasht mite tanka. That's the only objective. They're not going to ask anything deeper. That's most of us. Actually, we may have this kind of consciousness. Uh, but yes, but when some of these faithful people, when they see that despite of all my wants being fulfilled, they're still suffering, then they get pushed to a higher level of consciousness in which they feel that no, I must approach God to, you know, come out of uh, this mundane material existence where despite of having everything I have to suffer. So most of these people would be pushed towards monism, meaning as we discussed once that they believe that God is actually formless, and if we continue to live as per the scriptures and follow a certain process, then I can merge into God. Then I will not have to exist anymore. So that's monism. Okay, or they may become shunyavadi like the Buddhist, and they would want nirvana, no more material existence, no more existence, because no matter what I get, I simply suffer. That's monism. But higher than those who want to go beyond this material existence and merge into the spiritual existence are the devotees, because they desire to please Krishna. They naturally have faith that, God is actually a person and I have an eternal relationship with him. And I exist to fulfill his desires and please him. So that is a devotee, the Vaishnava devotees whom we offered our pranams to. So they are actually, they have the most exalted spiritual consciousness. So now that we are clear who devotees are, let's conclude this discussion by saying that this platform of desireless devotion is the summit of evolution, highest form of consciousness. And this is simply a gift of Krishna and his devotees. And this gift is made available when we render loving service. When Krishna sees that this person is chanting sincerely or serving his devotees sincerely, then Krishna awards this this consciousness. So so such people who are who possess this service attitude become devotees. All right, now let's connect this to our study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are studying chapter 1 and we have completed till 20th verse. The first 13 verses spoke about preparation of war. The next segment was about signs of victory, and last time we spoke about Kapi Dhwaja, the Divyau conch shells of Krishna and Arjun, But today we move to the next section of chapter 1, which is Krishna as Vatsal. So we'll be studying verses from 21 to 27. Let's begin quickly with our first verse. Arjuna Uvacha Senayor Ubayor Madhye Ratam Sthapya Me Achyuta Yavad Eta Niriksheham Yodhukaman Avasthitan Kairmaya Saha Yodhavyam Asmin Rana Samudyame. Arjuna said, O infallible one, please draw my chariot between the two armies so that I may see those present here who desire to fight and with whom I must contend in this great trials of arms. So Arjuna is ordering Krishna to drive his chariot ahead. Now, to understand how Krishna is Bhakti through these verses, we need to understand some sociological background to this. Okay, so Duryodhana had deep faith in Karna, that Karna can fight and defeat Arjuna. So Duryodhana was very eager to get the best chariot driver for Karna. So Duryodhana had approached Shalya, who was a king himself. He was the brother of Madri. Madri was the mother of Nakula and Sahadev. In one sense, he was the mama, as they say, uncle of Nakula and Sahadev. But Duryodhana approached Shalya and requested him to become the chariot driver of Karna. And Shalya became furious. He said, "O Duryodhana, how dare you? I am a Maharathi and I can on my own kill the Pandavas and their entire armies. And you want me to be a chariot driver? That too of Karna, who wasn't even a born Kshatriya? How dare you?" But Duryodhana was very manipulative and very intelligent person. So he said, "No, no, Shalya. Oh, Maharathi, you are definitely a Maharathi and you can definitely kill everyone. But I'm just requesting you because I see that there is nobody who can uh, who can uh, compare to Krishna in his chariot driving skills. Because Krishna is becoming the charioteer of Arjuna, so there can be nobody else who can compete with Krishna in this skill. Hence, I'm requesting you." So you see, we understand here that how becoming a chariot driver wasn't a very prestigious job. But Krishna very readily chose to become a chariot driver for Arjuna. That shows Krishna's glory. That shows that how Krishna is so eager to serve his devotees. And also in this verse, if you see, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Achyuta, infallible one. That even though he was acting as a chariot driver, yet he cannot be considered fallen because he is Achyuta. Also, just to point out, while fighting a war, the Maharathis or the warriors don't usually tell their chariot drivers to go right, go left. They simply kick on the either on the left side, on the right side to indicate where they want the chariot to go. So actually, this is something that I heard in one of the classes. I was very amazed how Krishna took kicks from Arjuna, and still and everything was out of love, you know. Okay, so in this section, I also wanted to discuss this one uh, aspect about Karna because so many people are writing these days and trying to create heroes out of Duryodhana and Karna instead of celebrating the personalities and the valor of Arjuna. So often people say, oh, Krishna and Arjuna cheated Karna and killed him. When actually in the battlefield, while Karna was fighting with Arjuna, his chariot wheel got stuck. So he had to abandon his chariot and throw away his weapons to actually pull it out of that, you know, mud. That time, Karna was giving big gyan to Arjuna and saying, you should not, shoot a person who has put his uh, weapons aside. Be a Kshatriya, O Arjuna. So that time, Krishna said, Wah, very good. Karna, today you are remembering Dharma. Where was your Dharma when you asked Duryodhan and his party to bring Draupadi into that court and disrobe her? Where was your Dharma, O Karna, when you killed Abhimanyu? A lone warrior when all of you schemed to kill him. So when actually we should neither try to use or the lesson here is that we should not try to be karnas. We should not try to use the scriptures, manipulate them, and manipulate people to get our way through. Karna was doing that. Karna was using scriptures and reminding Arjuna of his Kshatriya dharma so that he can get his way out. When Karna himself never followed dharma, we should not be like Karnas. This is one important lesson. We should follow dharma sincerely as per our level, and but never misuse the scriptures or our knowledge of the scriptures to manipulate others. Okay, another aspect we can discuss here is how Krishna actually, in order to assure the world that his devotees were not wanting a war, Krishna actually went to the court of Duryodhana and asked him to not engage in war, but instead, as a peacemaker, but instead he could just give 5 villages to the Pandavas because they are Kshatriyas, they need some land to govern, to sustain themselves. But Duryodhana was so egoistic, he said, no, I am not willing to share even a land where one needle can be pricked. So Krishna actually kind of showed the world that it was not his devotees. So Krishna is so uh, so to maintain the glory of his devotees, Krishna even went to Duryodhana, and that time Duryodhana actually tried to capture Krishna, and Krishna had to show his universal form. So we understand from these two verses how Krishna is Bhakt. Let's move to the next one. योत्स्यमानान् अवेक्षेऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागता धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. So Arjuna is telling the reason why he wants the chariot to be put in the middle of the two armies, because he wants to see who, he of course knew who is fighting on behalf of Duryodhana, but he wanted to see how are they so driven. What is it that is motivating them to come up and fight, to just to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. But Krishna never replies back. He simply he simply agrees, and he simply does or obliges Arjuna by doing what he's asking. Sanjaya uvacha evam ऋषिकेशो गुडकेशेन भारत तेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम्. See, Krishna simply didn't argue back, didn't say anything. He could have said that, oh Arjuna, everybody has blown their conch, anybody will start shooting anytime. Don't do this. But no, he didn't say that. So, as Sanjaya points out, O descendant of Bharata, having thus been addressed by Arjuna, Lord Krishna drew up the fine chariot in the midst of the armies of both parties. And Prabhupada points out that how Arjuna is being addressed as Gudakeshena, meaning Gudakesh, Prabhupada explains, means a person who has conquered sleep and ignorance. So that is also one attribute of a bhakta or devotee, that actually um, they have actually conquered over ignorance, and they are always aware of their position as a servant of Krishna. Okay, let's move to the next verse. Bhishma Drona Pramukha Sarvesham cha Mahikshitam Uvacha Partha Pachaitan Tamavetan Kuruniti. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So so Srila Prabhupada is actually pointing out that Krishna, being the Paramatma within the heart of everyone, already knew that there is a big turmoil going on in the heart of Arjuna, because he just doesn't want to fight Bhishma, his beloved teacher Dronacharya. He does not want to fight them, but he is being forced by the providence, by this arrangement to fight them. So just to kind of, tease him, or just to indicate that Krishna has already understood what's going on in the heart of Parth Arjun, he's saying, just behold Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. Okay, so now तत्र पश्चात् स्थितन् पार्थ पितॄन् अथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा स्वश्रुरान् सौहृदाश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, his grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles. Shalya was his maternal uncle, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers-in-law and well-wishers. Right, so now in here it's building up to our next section of this chapter, wherein Arjuna will express his doubts. तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेय सर्वान् बन्धु अवस्थितान् कृपया प्रव्याविष्टो विषिदन् idam अब्रवीत्. When the son of Kunti, Arjuna, saw all these different grades of friends and relatives, he became overwhelmed with compassion and spoke thus. So we saw today how Krishna became a chariot driver for his devotee, how he very humbly obliged to the order of his devotee. So that shows how Krishna is actually a Bhakt Vatsal. Usually all across the world, God is worshipped uh, as a supreme provider, as the supreme judge who is going to judge you for your actions. But Krishna, but our holy scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita indicate how Krishna is not only the greatest, but also the sweetest. He is willing to become subordinate to his devotees. So here is a beautiful chant written by a Muslim devotee of Krishna, Rasa Khan, who was actually a resident of Vrindavan. So we can maybe meditate on this, because this also indicates how Krishna is actually Bhakt Vatsal. Ses Ganesh Mahesh Dinesh Suresh Hu Jahi Nirantar Gave. गाहि अनादि आनंद अखंड अछेद अभेद सुवेद बतावें. नारद से सुख व्यास रटे पचिहारे तौ पुनि पार न पावे. आहि अहीर की छोहरिया छछिया भरी छाछ पे नाच नचावे. So it's a beautiful chanda in which Rasa Khan is saying Sesa, meaning Sheshnag, Ganesh, Shiv, Mahesh is Shiva, Dinesh is Surya Dev, and all other demigods, all other, devatas, they are Nirantar. Every moment they are singing his glories. The Vedas describe him as Anadi, Anand, Akhand, Ached, Abhed, because he cannot be described in words. And glorious devotees like Narad, Shuka, Vyas, they are all, constantly chanting his glories, but Parana Pave, they are not able to complete. They are not able to complete to such a supreme Lord. Ahir ki Chohariya, the gopis from the clan of Ahir, are making him dance uh, by offering him chachiya bar chach, a little bit of chach in one of those earthen pots, and he's willing to dance for their pleasure, because Krishna is attracted by simple love, sweet simple love. So today we saw how Arjuna's love captured Krishna, and he became a chariot driver for Arjuna. Right? So now I will take you to a story of a very, very glorious Vaishnava who was also protected by Krishna. So this is Kurma Rupa Prabhu. He was an American by birth. I somehow remember that he is actually of Mexican origin also, but he was born in the US. And when he was a young man, he was working for the American Army. And when he was in 20s, there was a war which broke out between the United States and Vietnam. And he was about to get, I think the word was chartered or something, to go to Vietnam and fight in the war. So Kurmarupa Prabhu says that it was first time in his life that he was very intensely praying to God, that please protect me, I will somehow find, if you just somehow, if I'm uh, if you could save me from not going to this war, then I promise you that I'll somehow find out a way to serve you. So over the years, so somehow, he didn't have to actually go to the war. So he felt that God has protected him. So then he felt obliged to keep his part of the bargain. That is also one indicator of advanced consciousness. Usually we keep asking things for God, but from God, but when we get those things, we forget about God's favor. And so we must keep our part of the bargain also. So Kurman Rupa Prabhu, eventually he got attracted to this process of bhakti yoga and started worshipping Krishna. And and then he actually moved to Vrindavan to teach in a Gurukula. So when he was in Vrindavan, uh, so one time on a Kartik, devotees celebrate this month of Kartik, which is considered to be very holy, and especially in Vrindavan. So in one of the interviews, he points out that uh, he started living outside the temple in a house, in a separate house. So one particular cow, who was it was a stray cow called Pluck, used to beg from door to door. So in Vrindavan there are cows who go from door to door asking for food. We would give her whatever vegetable cuttings or old chapatis we had around. Sometimes, if the door was left open, she would nose her way into the kitchen. It became a habit for us to give her something. So, when in Kartik he took a vrata that it would be a part of my vow to feed fresh grass to Tuck and some other stray cows in the neighborhood. So he began purchasing 40 kilos of grass daily, and every evening Tilak, her calf, and some abandoned cows in the neighborhood would come to eat in his neighborhood. So now, so it was in the month of Kartik that he started feeding these cows with fresh grass. But soon he found out that after Kartik also they would not go. So he continued his service beyond Kartik also, and soon Krishna and Kurmarupa Prabhu developed this desire of taking care of the injured cows, hurt cows, stray cows of Vrindavan, knowing that they are all dear to Krishna. So somehow by Krishna's arrangement, someone donated some land to him in Vrindavan, and then he started taking in injured cows, old cows who are not giving any milk anymore, old cows and injured cows, and treating them and feeding them. So this became his service to Krishna. And he established not a goshala, not a dairy farm, but in which cows were fed only to get milk out of them, but rather a gosadan where cows were simply served and taken care of. So, Care for Cows is one organization which is there in Sri Vrindavan Dham. I request you all to visit his website, and Krishna continued to reciprocate to him because soon, like I think a few years back, 4 5 years back, Kurmarupa Prabhu passed away, and he passed away right in the middle of Sri Vrindavan Dham and on an Ekadashi day. So for us Vaishnavas, if someone passes away on an Ekadashi day, and that too Padmini Ekadashi, which comes in Purushottam month, which is one of the rarest Ekadashis, he passed away on such an auspicious day, which was, I think, Krishna's way of telling that his services to God, to Krishna, have been accepted. So I request you all to go to that website of care of this website careforcows.org, and just you can see how his mission is being further carried uh, further by his well-wishers. Yeah, so thank you so much. Bhakt Vatsal Krishna ki jai. Kurmarup Prabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna.